Hi everyone. What if the only thing holding you back today from stepping into your full God given potential is a label you never stop to question or address? God didn't make us to stay in comfort zone or to live small. He created us to walk in boldness, in the fullness of everything He planned for us before the foundations of the earth, to embrace everything that He says about us, to press beyond limits. Unfortunately, though, too often those old labels from the past keep us stuck. They subdue the boldness, they dim the fire inside, and make us settle for much less than what God had planned. Maybe you watched the previous video where I spoke about labels and how they shape our identity, where sometimes we think that the personality we have is really how God intended us to be, not realizing that the labels of life tainted that personality, and who we are being is really based on a survival mode we learned from childhood. Now you might be realizing that some of those labels have been quietly holding back your confidence and preventing you from being the real you. Maybe you felt like all of us at different times, the tugging in your spirit to move forward, to be more, to step out, and you said, yes, I can do this. But then there's something else on the inside that pulls you back at times. What is that something? Again, it's those labels from the past, voices that may originate from our family background or from school days or some negative experience, but they don't reflect, as we know, God's original design or purpose. So today we're going to look a little bit more on labels and how to make those basic steps in moving past them and breaking out into who God called us to be. In psychology, there's a term called self-schema. Self-schema. What does that really mean? Is an internalized belief system that becomes so ingrained in us. Many times we are just on autopilot and we don't even realize those thoughts are going through our mind. It becomes a self-talk. And those thought patterns are shaped from early culture and, as we said before, family, and different experiences from life, including trauma. I found as a mentor and as a therapist that yes, persons get saved, they experience some form of emotional healing. They're growing in the Lord, growing in confidence, they're even helping others to mature. But yet still there's something there that they know that there's much more, but they just can't get beyond that but. And for many, it's an identity script, something from the past that still whispers. It may say, you are not enough. You can't do this. You are not ready. Or you're being a bit too much. You're being too extra. And many of us will hear this whisper from time to time. You will not succeed or you will fail. Because the brain has been wired based on past experiences to automatically think a negative, although it will think a positive at times, but it takes a long time to root out those negative belief patterns and realize that it's really not us in terms of who we really feel we are in the process, but simply how our brain has been programmed or wired to be, and it's really not our true self. So many times we feel our true self saying, yes, we can do it. Yes, we can. But then the thoughts from the past, how our brain is wired, speaks louder than those thoughts. So there's that tug and war, as I said, that goes on. But the good news is that God already knew this, and He already says that we are more than conquerors. He already says you can do it. For greater are you who is within you than he that is of the world. And even as we think about Gideon in Judges 6, Gideon was there hiding, fearful. And God said what? Mighty man of valor. He didn't see the fear. He didn't see the doubts. God saw the potential. God saw his destiny. And it's the same thing for each one of you. God is saying, wherever you are, whatever doubts you have, you are well able to rise and overcome those doubts. He isn't seeing us based on how we may feel today, but he's looking on the calling and what he has placed deep within us. So when you start to remember this, and you think that you're going to rise up in confidence, I may wonder, but what will persons think? As I know some persons do, what will persons think if I start to step out boldly? Will they think that I'm proud? No, you're not being proud. You are doing what God has called you to do. You stepping out is an agreement with the word of God, saying, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Where you're saying, I'm moving beyond my past, I'm moving beyond fears, I'm moving beyond labels. So here's a question for you to reflect on. What script or label are you still living by that tells you you are not ready, you may not be good enough, or you are not the one, or maybe a different label? And then ask, what is it in my background that has led me to have this belief system that every time I try to step out in a particular area, this thought comes? And then, is it God who put that thought there? And of course, the answer would be no. And so that thought needs to be challenged. And so spend 5-10 minutes reflecting. What are the negative thoughts that come to your mind as you consider stepping out? Then find a Bible verse or verses that counteract that thought. Speak that word, declare it, meditate on it. By meditating, I mean that you read it and you read it and you read it, and another day you read it again and read it, and you do that consistently, dissecting every part of that verse, asking yourself, do I believe it in every area of my heart, what this word says? Being honest with yourself. And if there's an area where you don't, even a little bit don't believe, then say, Lord, help me in this area. Show me why I'm not believing this. And you keep on meditating until the voice of the word becomes louder than the voice of any negative word in your head. And then I also encourage you, if you have been struggling to step out in different areas, struggling where you realize that there are some labels that are deep down, get help, whether from a therapist, a counselor, a psychologist, a spiritual mentor, if they have the requisite skill sets, especially if they don't necessarily have particular training. So if that's the case, then a therapist will be best, depending on the root causes. And walk in confidence and boldness. If you seek help and you didn't get it from a particular person, don't give up. Keep on seeking other help. If you are pressed and you're not getting a breakthrough, keep on pressing and pressing and pressing. Your breakthrough will come, and I guarantee you the Lord will bring persons across your path who will form part of the answer for unlocking you to the next level. As you persevere, God will do it for you. If any part of this video resonated with you, please like, please share. If you have any questions or comments, put them in the comment section. And of course, feel free, please subscribe so that you can be notified when any videos in terms of prophetic teaching or other teaching, or just looking in terms of our identity and moving forward in God whenever they are released. Bless you. Enjoy the rest of your week.